It is a heated political season in Uganda as the country readies to vote in its leaders in the February 2016 general election. With less than 3 months for voters to weigh in on the election, presidential candidates have put their vote hunt across the country in high gear. The campaigns kicked off in style with massive nomination rallies as the different presidential candidates showed their might in organizing the most prestigious event. Running such campaigns requires huge budgets to remain afloat through the period. Humongous sums of money will be spent, which could have an impact on the economy. Economists are predicting that the country's balance sheet could reflect an economy standing on shaky ground. Dr. Patrick Wakida is a senior economist and the executive director of the Research World International firm. He fears that the country's inflation could slide into double digit by the end of the campaign season.
The opposition is likely to use money. You have already had people saying Baba's has money, others saying Besigye has money, others saying Museveni is... Everybody is just stamping. So if they do use the money, and it's money already in the country, you expect a lot of liquidity. And liquidity results into inflation. Dr.
Wakida's arguments are strengthened by the historical facts dating back to the 2011 elections, when the governor of Bank of Uganda revealed that President Yoweri Museveni ordered him to print money, which he allegedly used in the elections.
I don't know whether the central bank will make the same mistake. If they did so, we can easily have the worst economy ever.
Mutabire's confession sent shockwaves to many economists who have since solved the puzzle as to why Uganda sank into a financial abyss in 2011.
In 2011, we had inflation hitting around 30.8% in October of 2010 or 2011. So that was the highest. And of course, there was an impact from the campaign money. There was an increase in money supply due to people campaigning.
Dr. Waswa Mutebi, a senior lecturer of economics, speaks from the same script as Dr. Wakida's. His fears are that the huge sums of the Ugandan shillings being pumped into the economy during the political season may prove a daunting challenge to the central bank to mop out.
Predict that we are going to see an increase in our inflation. Okay. I think recent reports from the Bank of Uganda have already shown that inflation has increased somehow. And the Bank of Uganda has already predicted that our exports are going to continue going down. So we expect to see a big increase in our current account deficit, and therefore that will continue to have an impact on our dollar, or our depreciation of the currency. So,
putting it simpler, both economists fear that the surplus of the shilling in the market could weaken it further against the dollar. Those fears are rather confirmed by the most recent report by Action Aid International, which has revealed that the different candidates are using money to bribe people for votes. The concerns were captured in an interview with senior journalist Doreen Kembabazi during a discussion on the political situation in the country.
We are well aware that on the 13th of November, this very month, Action Aid launched a campaign called the Anti-Vote Buying Campaign in Uganda at this time when there are elections. What informed that campaign?
Thank you, Doreen. Now, as you are aware, a research was conducted recently, and unfortunately, it revealed that the Western region ranked highest in voter bribery. Politicians are vividly buying off votes. And in addition to that, we've also received exclusive information that 20% of the approved 2015-2016 budgets of all government parastatals were taken away from them. Now, this money, we don't know where it has gone, and we highly think that this is the money that is financing the campaigns. So all this is coming to sink into the sector.
The watchdog organization has since started preaching against the vice due to its likely impact on the economy.
I'm calling upon Ugandans, I'm calling upon each and everyone, say no to vote buying. When these people come with their money, name and shame them, let them take away their money. Because after elections, it is you who is going to suffer when you buy a kilogram of sugar at 9,000 shillings. It is you, not them.
But can the Ugandans yield to this call, especially in the rural areas where poverty is biting hard? While the anti-corruption activists ponder on this question, there are even harder questions that those who manage the economy need to answer on the possible depreciation of the shilling. Uganda's previous electoral period was marked by violence characterized by the police encounters with the opposition leaders on the streets, challenging the independence of the Electoral Commission. According to the economists, this further threatens away the investors who would otherwise bring in the dollars to invest in the country. For some investors already operating in Uganda, the only option for them to shield their businesses is pulling out their money from the economy and saving it out of the country.
There is a lot of pessimism and an uncertainty as to who is coming into power. So if the environment is uncertain, then it's not good for the businesses, because you don't want to stake your money and you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like.
This means that there are more dollars being removed from the economy, yet there are more shillings being pumped into circulation. This conclusively weakens the shilling. During this political season, there are less tourists who fly into the country. Gesa Simplicius is the communications officer at the Uganda Wildlife Authority. He paints a rather gloomy picture of Uganda's tourism ratings during such times.
Well, we have this season coming. It is the electoral season. However, we expect that tourists that will be coming will drop. Given the number of days that the elections will take, people are uncertain about the outcome in the eventual days after the elections. So tourists tend to keep away. However, annually speaking, this season is characterized with low season. It is winter side in the European states and American clients that we have. So most of the guests that come often make it during the high season.
This means that we will have less dollars from the tourists into circulation. The scarcity of the dollar therefore makes it expensive against the shilling. When the price of the dollar increases, it will certainly have a multiple effect on the price of doing business in Uganda. As a result, the prices of goods, especially those imported, will increase. This is a Sunday street market in the capital Kampala, which has been perceived by many as a cheap market. However, traders here have already started feeling the pressure from the already increasing price of the dollar.
Pegs zino ngena nezisuubula nga buli emu ngisuubulidde ku siringisi 3 kati bwe njitunda siringisi 5 amagoba ge siringisi 2 gaba matono nnyo era ngenda okumaliriza nga olwo sikifunyemu bulungi nga bwe nandikifunyemu sema abegeri nga dola tennaba kulinnya nazigulanga siringisi 3 nezitunda siringisi 7 ngera abagula tebakayana ne kati abaguzi bonna beekyanga olw'ebbeeyi ya dola.
The impact of the dollar is not only felt by those who import goods, but also local products. Perhaps those who shop from Nakasero market can tell a better story. The food prices have shot up by far, and the reason? The dollar.
Nkwatako olw'ensonga nti amafuta genkozesa wano mu Uganda tewali mafuta. Mafuta gakola ki? Gava wabweru wa ggwanga. Kitegeeza nti bakozesa dola galeeta wano. Kati era kinkwatako dda nti kuba omuwonde buno sibulimira Kampala.
These complaints have already reached the Central Bank of Uganda, which is devising means of keeping the shilling in check. Bank of Uganda has started selling treasury bills and bonds to offshore companies who have brought in the dollars.
When you have a good yield, then you attract their participation, and when you attract their participation, they come with foreign currency to participate in the purchase of government securities. So this increase in the supply of foreign currency triggered the appreciation of the Ugandan shilling.
The treasury bills and bonds are bought by either commercial banks or the country's millionaires at a cheaper price with an attractive interest rate. This means that the central bank can withdraw the huge sums of the Ugandan shillings from the market, further strengthening it. The governor of Bank of Uganda, Emmanuel Mutebiri, has also promised Ugandans that he will not allow President Museveni to open the country's reserves during this electoral period.
I really do not expect to have the scenario of 2011 this time around.
Experts on the economy also advise that for a long-term strategy to keep the dollar in check, there is need for the country to increase its exports and rather reduce on the imports. The impact of the political events on the economy are not only unique to this country, but also elsewhere in the region.
Actually, the situation in South Sudan is not far from the one in Uganda. During election time, prices of goods, everything goes high. Because of South Sudan, all things in South Sudan are coming from the neighboring country, for example, like Uganda and also Kenya. That's why the price of things going high, and also dollar prices also going high.
Uganda and indeed Africa may be far away from running mature politics based on issues and not money, like in developed democracies, but the answer to this may be so close if the political terrain is redefined to foster debate, to influence change in the public mindset.
As a journalist, what are those issues or challenges you face while reporting on public affairs issues?
Okay, one of the issues that journalists face when they're reporting on public issues is that they do not get enough information from government. This is because government is not willing to accept that there are issues that concern the public, and they tend to ignore it. So this leads to public frustration, which in turn affects them or limits them from talking to the media, addressing the different concerns that they have. And then another issue that I can maybe point out is the fact that journalists don't want to read widely. They prefer to read only what's happening within their communities, and they don't want to get the international perspective, so they can be able to relate response from governments and from the society itself to come up with the best ways of addressing government issues or public issues. That's all I can say. Thank you so much.
Journalists carrying out investigative reporting face various challenges, more so when they're doing their work. And one of the challenges they face is they face threats that they get from people who may not want this information to be revealed. Maybe they are carrying out a story on maybe corruption. There are people who are in the story who don't want this information to come out to the public, so they undergo threats that they face because of this. They also face a challenge of, in case they are carrying out stories or they are investigating stories, where they have confidential sources, that is confidentiality of sources. They face a challenge whereby when it comes to the court, the law entails them to reveal sources because maybe there is a case that needs judgment. So as a journalist, there are ethical regulations, ethical consideration says if in case you're having a confidential source, you don't have to reveal your source.
So, as an investigative journalist, the very first challenge we encountered when we were shooting this documentary in the market is that women refused to talk. Most of them gave excuses of their husbands seeing them on TV. Another told us, nze tebasobola munteke ku TV, bawangala benti ntunda nsenene, atenga mmanyi nkola mulimu mulala. So such excuses came up a lot, and women were just unwilling because they were fearing for their husbands to see them. Another challenge that we encountered is that most of the interviewees wanted money. They couldn't understand that we are doing this for them and we are airing their views in order for people that are concerned to have a look at what the people are saying and act accordingly. Most of them were saying, "Anze mumpeye chokunywa, mumpeye chikumi. I'm not giving you my information for free." So you find that convincing them to open up to give us information was quite challenging. And the third and biggest challenge was time. Moving around these markets and finding people to interview is very, very laborious. So you find that you've reached a place at 10 and you're leaving at 6. And all that you're trying to get diverse views and you're trying to see how one relates to another, this relationship between what they are talking, trying to establish patterns, all that takes a lot of time.